So remember, our challenge here is to try printing out all of the dog breeds that end in the letter E. And for this problem, it makes sense for us to use a for each loop, because a for each loop gives us access quickly to each item on the list, but doesn't actually require us to have the index of each item, because really we're just interested in the properties of each individual item on this list. And so inside of our for loop, remember, we're going to print out a breed if and only if it ends in the letter E. So we're going to need an if statement here. And we'll say if S, because remember S is each breed, dot substring. Now we want to figure out how do we get the last letter of this particular name, right? And they're this particular breed. And because they're each a different length, we're going to need to make this generic. So we'll say s.length -1, right? Because that will give us from length -1 to the end, which is going to be the last letter. And we'll say if that equals E. Okay, and then we're going to actually print it out. The thing that we're printing out again is S, because S in this case is the breed that we're currently looking at. So remember, this for each loop goes through each string on the list breeds and then checks if that substring of this string S, of that breed, from the last letter to the end, which is going to be just the last letter, is equal to this letter E, so a lowercase e, then we're going to print out the dog breed. All right, otherwise, we're not going to do anything. That's all we need for this particular algorithm, and now let's try it. We run our code and we get Poodle, Labradoodle, Beagle. Perfect. Those are the 3 breeds on our list that end in the letter E. Now, you may have had different methods of trying to do this. This is probably the simplest way you can accomplish it, but you're definitely welcome to try to get more creative with this one. But I just wanted to show one good example of how a for each loop can be useful in solving some problems. Today, you learned an important skill, which is the ability to traverse an array list, right? One of the whole points of having a list of items is so that we can actually go through and look at each one of those items. Now, I'll warn you that lots of times I find the difference between arrays and array lists to be confusing. So it might be good at this point to make a table for yourself so that you can remember, okay, with arrays I use .length, with array lists I use .size. With arrays I use square brackets, with array lists I use .get. Right? Those are going to be important differences that you might forget in the moment, and you want to have a little reference guide so you can remember them.